Hey, what's going on, guys? So then I just wanted to do a video on intermittent fasting, which is a method of dieting what everybody can start implementing in their life right now. But before I get into it and start throwing heaps of words at you and facts and stuff, I did an experiment last week for 1 week, and I'm going to show you the results of that at the end. And I weighed myself, I did a body composition, guys, I did all the measurements and stuff like that, and I show you exactly what I was eating, when I was eating them, and talk you through exactly what my thought process is whilst I'm doing it. But then, what is intermittent fasting? Well, I'm going to tell you now how it works, what the benefits are, and how you can implement it in your life right now. Because all intermittent fasting is then, guys, it's a method of dieting where instead of changing what you're eating, you're changing when you eat it. So unlike normal diets where you, for breakfast, lunch and dinner, you might be eating something what you might not necessarily like, maybe you don't mind it, but you definitely wouldn't choose that. Whereas intermittent fasting, you can pretty much have whatever food you like. It's just you're changing when you're going to have that. And due to the current circumstances what we found ourselves in, whatever diet you might have been on or thinking about going on, well, now we can't get to the shops anymore. When we do get to the shops, they don't have everything there. So this is something that we can really implement in our lives and have a lot of success at doing so. So then, why is intermittent fasting so good for us? Well, when you do intermittent fasting correctly then, guys, you enter a thing called autophagy, which is the reproduction of cells. So when you're doing intermittent fasting correctly, you'll notice that your skin's a lot better, your hair's going to be a lot better. It's fantastic for anti-aging. For fat loss, guys, it is absolutely incredible. You will burn fat like a MF, pardon my French. Not just that then, guys, it also has lean muscle mass advantages as well, which is super important for a lot of us, and that has to do with the release of human growth hormone, what happens when you get to around the 16-hour point in intermittent fasting. So how do you do it then? How do you do intermittent fasting? So there's 24 hours in every day, yeah, and usually on a diet that doesn't mean a great deal to anyone. Intermittent fasting, however, what you do is you split your day up and you have an eating period and a fasting period. So you might do, for starters, you might say a 12 and 12. So for 12 hours of the day, you're not going to be eating anything. The only thing what's going to touch your lips is either water, black coffee, or black tea. Now, guys, that is it. You're not allowed any sweeteners, you're not allowed any diet drinks, you're not allowed anything with flavour or anything like that. And I will explain that in detail a little bit later on, guys, but I just want to explain this window theory to you. Not theory, the window method to you. So that's the 12 and 12, which I'm going to tell you now, guys, if you're just new to intermittent fasting, do the 12 and 12 to start with because it's a lot easier to stick to. Then you want to be moving into about the 14 and 10. If you can do the 14 and 10, that's absolutely fantastic, guys. Go into that straight away. It's not too difficult. If you had your last meal at 8 p.m, which is fairly easy, then you have your next meal at 10 a.m. the next day. So that's kind of easy to stick to in it. But the most beneficial one to you then, guys, will be the 16 and 8. That's for 16 hours of the day, you're not eating anything. This does include the time that you're sleeping. So if you was to sleep for 8 hours of the day, then you've only got 8 hours of not eating, and then you've got an 8-hour window where you can eat food. Now, you obviously don't eat for that whole window, you be reasonable within that window, but you're cutting down that eating window drastically. And because you're doing that, guys, you'll naturally eat less calories. So you're going to lose weight just on that aspect of it anyway. But what's going to happen is your body is just going to go into repair mode. So it's going to be repairing all the cells, every single cell you think of, and it's just going to be burning fat in the process. And the best way you can make this work for you then, guys, is the longer you can go before you have your breakfast, the better it's going to be for you. I know people say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I don't personally believe that, guys, and I'm pretty sure that the guys who came up with that theory was Kellogg's. Just throwing that little random stupid fact out there. But it's not necessarily the most important meal of the day, especially when you want to work on a weight loss level. Because basically, if you have your last meal at 8 and then you're not going to eat until, let's see, if it's 8, you're not going to eat until 12 the next day, so midday will be your first meal. You've got all that time that you're awake where your body is just going to be burning fat. Now, if you want to lose fat, you don't want to be putting anything in your system up until that point, because if you do, you're defeating the purpose of the object. Do you know what I mean? You're putting something in there to use as fuel. Now, I know this might be difficult for some of you who love breakfast, but trust me, guys, after about 3 to 5 days, you're going to get used to the fact that you're not having breakfast. It's just tough. Now, there's two ways that you can do fasting then, guys. You can do a hard fast and you can do a soft fast. Now, the hard fast works a million times better than the soft fast. Don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean that the soft fast isn't beneficial. So the hard fast, as you can imagine, you're during the non-eating period, when you're sleeping and not eating, you're going to be having just water, black coffee, or black tea. Nothing in it, absolutely nothing. Now, if you can do that, then that's absolutely fantastic. But I'm going to tell you what happens when you do the soft fast. The soft fast means you might have diet, you're just not having calories pretty much. You can have things with flavours in them, it's just you're not having calories. So you can have sweetener, diet drinks and things like that. But what actually happens when you have a diet drink or some sweetener or some stevia is it triggers a response in your brain what makes you think that you're having food, which then will spike insulin, which means you'll be out of autophagy. You won't be in the fast as good as you would be doing, although you're not consuming calories itself. And also what it does do is it will make you really, really hungry, because you might have had a day where you're just super busy and you're rushing around and stuff like that, and you just forget to eat and you don't bother eating anything for, I don't know, you might go 16 hours anyway without eating anything. That's the key to making this work, in my opinion. You've got to keep yourself busy. But the second you have a calorie or anything like that, you're bringing yourself out of autophagy, then you're spiking your insulin. And then if you've had a Diet Coke, for instance, all of a sudden your brain's like, there's food in me, there's food, and it starts breaking stuff down, but there's nothing there there's nothing in your system. Do you know what I mean? So then it starts sending triggers to your brain, eat something, you need something in your system. So that's why, even if it doesn't have a calorie in it, it's going to bring you out of the fast. It's not going to be as beneficial as if you was fully fasting. Now, obviously, I mentioned the 12 and 12 window and the 14 and 10 window. And although they might not be as beneficial as the 16 and 8, they still are super beneficial for us, guys. Even just on the aspect that you're giving your digestive system a break for a large portion of the day, or you're not eating for at least half the amount of your life, I suppose, of your lifespan. Even that is going to have huge benefits for you. And as well, guys, use them as a stepping stone to get to the 16 and 8. And it's same as the soft fast. If you're finding it with water and black coffee really difficult, maybe adding a Diet Coke or something like that, just to get you through it, just to keep you going, or have a little bit of milk in your coffee or a little bit of cream in your coffee, just to get you to that point, and then gradually cut it out. Because you've got to kind of treat this the same way as a marathon. If you said, oh, I'm going to go run a marathon, you're not going to be like, right, 26.2 miles, let's go. No, you're probably going to use a more clever approach to it and build up to that. Do you know what I mean? So you can use the 12 and 12 window and the 14 and 10 windows with the soft fast to get you to that 16 and 8 point. Now, I know there's probably a lot of you who say, well, I kind of do intermittent fasting anyway. I'm already there. I promise you guys, you won't be doing it. You might think you're doing it, but I promise you won't be doing it correctly, because if you was, you would be getting the benefits from it. Now then, although I'm reeling off a heap of reasons why intermittent fasting is good, I am going to tell you guys, it is a little bit difficult. But one of the most difficult aspects of it is the social side of it. Now, obviously, if you was on a 16 and 8 diet and you go down the pub with the boys, you might not be able to have a couple of pints with them. But luckily for us, we can't do that anyway. So it kind of is a really good time to try getting into intermittent fasting. We haven't really got anything to lose. But guys, I will say, if you're hungry and you're sat there doing nothing, you're going to find it really difficult. So you've really got to try and keep yourself as busy as you possibly can be during that time that you're not eating. Otherwise, you're just going to be sat there thinking, I can't wait to bloody start eating something. That's pretty much what your thought process is going to be. There is another thing as well. I've got a 9-month-old at home, and it is difficult if you do have young kids, because what do? We make our kids some food and stuff. We might get a little bit on our hands or somewhere, and we just go like that. Unfortunately, that will bring you out of your fast. Honest, guys, nothing can pass your lips other than water, black coffee, or black tea. That's super important. Guys, if I've missed anything out, or if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate. Just give me a shout, send me your questions and stuff like that, and I'll do my best to answer it. I've been doing intermittent fasting now for, I don't know, the best part of 4 or 5 years. Found it super beneficial. I really like it, and I hope you will too, especially during this time that we're in at the moment. Thanks for watching, guys.